Simplilearn. Your pace, your place.
Simplilearn's e-learning course content, material and figures consists of reference from APMG syllabus, guidelines and ITIL official website. ITIL is a registered trademark of the Cabinet Office. IT Infrastructure Library is a registered trademark of the Cabinet Office. The swirl logo is a trademark of the Cabinet Office. ITIL Lifecycle Module Service Strategy. Hello and welcome to Simplilearn's ITIL 2011 Lifecycle course on Service Strategy Certification Preparation. This is the introductory lesson provided by Simplilearn on Service Strategy, SS. I am Alex, who will be with you throughout this e-learning session. This course consists of 10 learning units, apart from this introductory lesson. Therefore, it is important that you go through this lesson before accessing the remaining 10 learning units. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin with the introductory lesson agenda. We will first begin with the objective of this lesson, followed by a few recap topics that you might have covered during your ITIL foundation level. The topics we will cover are ITIL Basic Introduction, ITIL Intermediate, and its relevant topics. This is followed by information about the Accreditation Institute, SS course description, and its objectives. We will then look at who can attend this course. Next, moving to the exam section, we will learn about the exam prerequisites, or say the eligibility criteria for attending this course, exam format, and the exam tips to help you achieve this certification. Lastly, we'll look at the SS course outline and the duration required for each learning unit, and details about the quiz provided by Simplilearn at the end of each learning unit. So go ahead and experience this courseware. The objective of this introductory lesson is to educate you on the courseware that Simplilearn offers, help you on how this online course works, ensure that you are aware of all the topics and subtopics covered in this course. Let's now move on to recap on ITIL basics in the next slide. ITIL is the most widely adopted approach for IT service management in the world. It provides a practical, no-nonsense framework for identifying, planning, delivering, and supporting IT services to the business. Adopting ITIL can offer users a huge range of benefits that include improved IT services, reduced costs, improved customer satisfaction through a more professional approach to service delivery, improved productivity, improved use of skills and experience, and improved delivery of third-party service. We will study more about ITIL under the topic Foundation Basics at the end of this lesson. Let us now understand the ITIL Intermediate, which is the next level in ITIL certification. ITIL 2011 Intermediate level is the next level after ITIL Foundation. ITIL Intermediate level has a modular structure, with each module focusing on different aspects of ITIL. They are Service Lifecycle and Service Capability. The intermediate modules focuses more on detail-oriented study than the foundation level, and is an industry-recognized qualification. Well, on completion of your ITIL Foundation and prior choosing this course, I am sure the thought on how one can become an ITIL expert must have crossed your mind. Let's get the answer to this in the next slide. Let us have a brief look at the ITIL certification path. The diagram in the slide is a graphical depiction of the ITIL certification path. ITIL certification path is based on credit point system. That is, you need to accumulate 9 credit points at each stage until expert. ITIL Foundation is the first certification which gives you 2 credit points on certification. On completion of the foundation level, you become eligible to appear for intermediate level, where you can choose from the 2 streams, 1. Lifecycle and 2. Capability. The Lifecycle modules have all the standard 5 Lifecycle phases as exams, which provides 3 credits each. Capability modules are more focused towards implementation content and have 4 exams which provide 4 credits each. You can choose any one of the modules from either streams or make a combination on the basis of your experience in the industry. Thus, at this level, the minimum credit requirement is 15. Once you accumulate 15 points plus 2 of foundation, that is 17 credit points, makes you eligible for 3rd level, that is MALC, which provides you 5 credit points. Once you are certified MALC, your final score credit becomes 22. To become an ITIL expert, there is no separate exam. You need to accumulate 22 credits to get the ITIL expert certificate. I am sure we are clear on the certification path. Let us understand the service lifecycle and its modules in the next slide. The service lifecycle modules are for candidates who aspire to handle a management or team lead role, which requires a broad management focus on ITIL practice areas. It is also for candidates who work or coordinate across teams or manages multiple capability areas. The different modules under Service Lifecycle are 1. Service Strategy, SS 2. Service Design, SD 3. Service Transition, ST 4. Service Operation, SO 5. Continual Service Improvement, CSI. Similarly, let's understand service capability in the next slide. Service capability modules are for the candidate who aspire to specialize in process-level knowledge in one or more processes, which focuses more on day-to-day execution. The different modules under service capability are 1. Service Offerings and Agreements, SOA 2. Release Control and Validation, RCV 3. Operational Support and Analysis, OSA 4. Planning, Protection and Optimization, PPO. As we have an understanding of both the streams, let us understand the differences between them in the next slide. Here is the difference between the lifecycle and capability. If you observe, you will see that lifecycle is mainly phase-oriented, whereas capability is process-oriented. Also, lifecycle focuses on individuals who work on the process, whereas capability focuses on individuals who are in the process. Take a few minutes to learn more about the differences on this slide. Once you're done, move on to learn about MALC. Managing across the lifecycle is the last step in achieving the ITIL Expert certification. Therefore, it is mainly focused on individuals who want to become ITIL experts. On completing MALC, an individual can apply the ITIL knowledge, and it provides skills that can be used in the workplace in a tangible way. We have already discussed on the credit system in the certification path slide. However, just to mention, the MALC certification gives you 5 credit points. Now let us proceed to look at the Accreditation Institute for ITIL in the next slide. The governing body for ITIL 2011 Foundation and Intermediate is the Cabinet Office, UK. Simplilearn is accredited by APMG and TUV as an ITIL Foundation and Intermediate training provider. Also, Simplilearn is an accredited examination centre, AEC, by APMG, TUV and EXIN to conduct these exams. So this has been our basic introduction on ITIL. Let us now focus on the Service Strategy course description and objective in the coming slides. The ITIL Intermediate Qualification. Service Strategy Certificate is a freestanding qualification, but is also part of the ITIL Intermediate Lifecycle stream, and one of the modules that leads to the ITIL Expert Certificate in IT Service Management. The purpose of this training module and the associated exam and certificate is, respectively, to impart, test, and validate the knowledge on industry practices in service management and strategy as documented in the ITIL Service Strategy publication. Let's understand the objective of this course in the next slide. This qualification provides a complete overview of service strategy, including all its relevant activities, how to design, develop, and implement service management, not only as an organizational capability, but also as a strategic asset. Candidates can expect to gain competencies in the following upon successful completion of the education and examination components related to this certification. Introduction to Service Strategy, Service Strategy Principles, Service Strategy Processes, Governance, Organizing for Service Strategy, Technology Considerations, Implementing Service Strategy, Challenges, Critical Success Factors and Risks. Let us now look at the candidates who can opt for this certification in the next slide. The main target candidate for the ITIL Intermediate Qualification Service Strategy Certificate includes, but is not restricted to, Chief Information Officers, CIOs, Chief Technology Officers, CTOs, Managers, Supervisory Staff, Team Leaders, Service Designers, IT Architects, IT Planners, IT Consultants, IT Audit Managers, IT Security Managers. Let's continue to discuss about the target candidates in the next slide. Apart from the candidates mentioned in the previous slide, the following candidates can also apply or attend this course. ITSM trainers involved in the ongoing management, coordination and integration of strategizing activities within the service lifecycle. Individuals who require a deeper understanding of the ITIL service strategy stage of the ITIL service lifecycle and how activities in it may be implemented to enhance the quality of IT service management within an organization. IT professionals working in roles associated with strategic planning, execution and control within a service-based business model, seeking an understanding of the concepts, processes, functions and activities involved in service strategy. Individuals who have attained the ITIL Foundation Certificate in IT Service Management and wish to advance to higher level ITIL certifications. Individuals seeking the ITIL Expert Certification in IT Service Management, for which this qualification can be one of the prerequisite modules. Individuals seeking progress towards the ITIL Master Certificate in IT Service Management, for which the ITIL Expert is a prerequisite. Let us now look at the exam prerequisites for this course in the next slide. To be eligible for the ITIL Intermediate Qualification Service Strategy Examination, candidates must have fulfilled the following requirements: at least 21 contact hours of instruction, excluding breaks, with an accredited training organization, ATO, or an accredited e-learning solution for this syllabus as part of a formal, approved training course scheme. A basic IT literacy and around 2 years of IT experience are highly desirable. Hold the ITIL Foundation Certificate in IT Service Management or other appropriate earlier ITIL and Bridge qualifications. It is also recommended that candidates should complete at least 21 hours of personal study by reviewing the syllabus and the ITIL Service Strategy publication in preparation for the examination, specifically Chapter 2, Service Management as a Practice. In the next slide, we will discuss about the Service Strategy exam format. ITIL 2011 SS exam consists of 8 multiple-choice questions, which will be scenario-based, gradient-scored questions. Each question will have 4 possible answer options, one of which is worth 5 marks, one which is worth 3 marks, one which is worth 1 mark, and one which is a distractor and achieves no marks. The duration of the exam is 90 minutes. As a prerequisite, you need to have an ITIL 2011 Foundation Certificate or ITIL V4 Foundation Certificate plus Bridge Certificate and completion of an accredited course from an ITIL accredited training provider. It is a supervised exam and closed book. You need to acquire a minimum pass score of 28 right answers out of 40 questions or score 70% in the exam. The next slide talks about the exam tips. Here are a few exam tips that will help you overcome the examination as well as score good pass percentage. Please take a few minutes to learn about these tips on the slide. Once you have completed the exam tips, move to the next slide on the Service Strategy course outline. Let me give you an overview of all the learning units of this tutorial. In all, we have 10 learning units, including the introductory lesson, which we will be completing in a few minutes. Let's look at the other learning units now. Learning Unit 1 covers the purpose and objectives of service strategy, the scope of service strategy, the value to the business and the context of service strategy in relation to all other lifecycle stages. Learning Unit 2. Service management as a practice is an integral part of any intermediate module and also one of the requirements that needs to be covered in the syllabus. This learning unit covers various topics of service management as a practice. Learning Unit 3 discusses about the ability to decide on a service strategy and how to utilize the 4 P's of service strategy, define services, create value, and leverage the combined use of utility and warranty, and also on how to use service economics and sourcing strategies when meeting business outcomes. Learning Unit 4. This learning unit covers the managerial and supervisory aspects of service strategy processes. It excludes the day-to-day operation of the processes, which is covered in the service capability stream. Learning Unit 5 discusses about the strategic level concepts of governance as it relates to service strategy. Learning Unit 6 covers the knowledge, interpretation, and analysis of service strategy principles, techniques, and relationships, and their application for creation of effective service strategies. It also talks about the ability to create an organizational design using the relevant development and departmental methods. Learning Unit 7. This learning unit covers the technology considerations for service strategy, including service automation, analytics, and technology interfaces. Learning Unit 8 discusses about developing implementation strategies that follow a lifecycle approach, for example, design, transition, operation, and improvement programs. Learning Unit 9 talks about the ability to provide insight and guidance for strategic challenges, risks, and critical success factors. Learning Unit 10 is all about summary and directed studies. In this tutorial, at the end of each learning unit, quiz questions are provided by Simplilearn. This is to help you access your knowledge on completion of each learning unit. The question pattern would be objective type with an explanation to the right answer, and each module will consist of sample case studies and sample test papers from APMG. Apart from these exercises, a glossary for your reference will be provided at the end of this course. Please note, to move from one learning unit to another, you need to complete these quiz questions with the right answers. Let us proceed to recap on some of the definitions and terms used in ITIL. The next section is on Foundation Basics. Well, this section is provided to help you refresh the learnings from ITIL Foundation. Here we will discuss about service strategy, about service management, functions and processes of service strategy. Let us begin with, what is ITIL? Well, to define in one line, ITIL is a set of publications for good practices in IT service management. It provides a framework for the governance of IT. Now, this leads us to ask the question, why do we need ITIL? As ITIL focuses on descriptive guidance on IT service management that's easily adapted and emphasizes quality management approach standards. As you have understood by now, the goal of ITIL is to provide consistent, comprehensive, hygienic set of best practice guidance, provide a platform for independent discussion of processes in a common or, say, easy language, or in a standardized vocabulary. It focuses on the continual measurement and improvement of the quality of IT service delivered from both a business and a customer perspective. ITIL acts as a flexible framework which is adaptable to different IT environments and also complement other public frameworks. Let us learn about the benefits of ITIL in the next slide. ITIL as a framework benefits the organization in many ways, such as organization is benefited with increased user and customer satisfaction with IT services, improved service availability, directly leading to increased business profits and revenue. An organization can achieve better financial savings from reduced rework, lost time, improved resource management, and usage. The organization has improved time to market for new products and services. And lastly, improved decision-making and optimized risk. In the next slide, we will recap on ITIL service lifecycle phases. In our last slide, we understood the benefits of ITIL. This slide explains the concepts of ITIL lifecycle. ITIL has the following components. The ITIL core, best practice guidance applicable to all types of organizations who provide services to a business. The ITIL complementary guidance, a complementary set of publications with guidance specific to industry sectors, organization types, operating models, and technology architectures. The ITIL core consists of 5 publications as depicted in the figure. Each publication provides the guidance necessary for an integrated approach as required by the ISO IEC 20000 standard specification. Service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, continual service improvement. Each publication addresses capabilities having direct impact on a service provider's performance. The structure of the core is in the form of a life cycle. It is iterative and multidimensional. It ensures organizations are set up to leverage capabilities in one area for learning and improvement in others. The ITIL core is expected to provide structure, stability, and strength to service management capabilities with durable principles, methods, and tools. This serves to protect investments and provide the necessary basis for measurement, learning, and improvement. The guidance in ITIL can be adapted for use in various business environments and organizational strategies. The ITIL complementary guidance provides flexibility to implement the core in a diverse range of environments. In the previous slides, we spoke about ITIL as a framework for service management. Thus, to start with, we need to understand the basics of the concept of service and value. Therefore, let us understand what is a service. Service is defined as a means of delivering value to customers by facilitating outcomes customers want to achieve without the ownership of specific costs and risks. We can refer to anything around us in this universe as service. Let's take an example of the room around you to take anything in that room, right from the smallest item to the biggest. Now start thinking about the item you choose and see an item that you choose serves some purpose to you, and it has been provided by a seller who manufactures this item to fulfill the same purpose of yours. Here the item you choose is your service. Manufacturer is the service provider, and you who utilize the service is the customer. Now what do we understand by service management? Service management is defined as a set of specialized organizational capabilities for providing value to customers in the form of services. In the next slide, we will understand the purpose of service strategy. In our last slide, we understood the concept of service and service management. This slide explains the service strategy, purpose. The service strategy volume provides guidance on how to design, develop, and implement service management, not only as an organizational capability, but also as a strategic asset. Guidance is provided on the principles underpinning the practice of service management that are useful for developing service management policies, guidelines, and processes across the ITIL service lifecycle. Service strategy guidance is useful in the context of service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. Organizations use the guidance to set objectives and expectations of performance towards serving customers and market spaces, and to identify, select, and prioritize opportunities. Service strategy is about ensuring that organizations are in a position to handle the costs and risks associated with their service portfolios, and are set up not just for operational effectiveness, but also for distinctive performance. Decisions made with respect to service strategy have far-reaching consequences, including those with delayed effort. Service strategy sets out guidance to all IT service providers and their customers to help them operate and thrive in the long term by building a clear service strategy. A fundamental acknowledgement that customers do not buy products. They buy the satisfaction of particular needs. The services provided must be perceived by the customer to deliver sufficient value in the form of outcomes that the customer wants to achieve. Let us look at the key processes of service strategy in the next slide. Let us see what are the processes covered under service strategy. Topics covered in service strategy include the development of markets, internal and external, service assets, service catalog, and implementation of strategy through the service lifecycle, strategy management for IT services, financial management for IT services, service portfolio management, demand management, and business relationship management are among other major topics. Let us continue to understand the basics of service strategy in the next slide. Organizations use the guidance to set objectives and expectations of performance towards serving customers and market spaces, and to identify, select, and prioritize opportunities. Service strategy is about ensuring that organizations are in a position to handle the costs and risks associated with their service portfolios, and are set up not just for operational effectiveness, but also for distinctive performance. Decisions made with respect to service strategy have far-reaching consequences, including those with delayed effect. We need to acquire a precise understanding of what services should be offered, who the services should be offered to, how the internal and external marketplaces for their services should be developed, how the customers and stakeholders will perceive and measure value, and how this value will be created, how customers will make service sourcing decisions with respect to use of different types of service providers, how the allocation of available resources will be tuned to optimal effect across the portfolio of services. In the next slide, we will look at the 4 P's of service strategy. What are these P's? The 4 P's of strategy are perspective, position, plan, and pattern. Let's look at each one separately. 1. Perspective refers to the distinctive vision and direction. 2. Position refers to the basis on which the provider will compete. 3. Plan refers to how the provider will achieve their vision. 4. Pattern refers to the fundamental way of doing things, distinctive patterns in decisions and actions over time. Similarly, service value can be described in terms of the combination of 2 components, service utility and service warranty. In the next slide, we will learn about competition and market space. Competition and market space. A market space is defined by a set of business outcomes, which can be facilitated by a service. The opportunity to facilitate those outcomes defines a market space. The following are examples of business outcomes that can be the basis of one or more market spaces. Sales teams are productive with sales management system on wireless computers. E-commerce website is linked to the warehouse management system. It is also important to understand that every service provider is subject to these forces. All service providers and customers operate in one or more internal or external market spaces. Essentials for service provider, dynamics of market spaces, combination of CSFs. Next, let us learn about the different types of service providers. Service providers can be categorized as internal, external, or shared. The critical success factors, CSFs, of the strategy are the identification, measurement, and periodic review of CSFs to determine the service assets required to successfully implement the desired service strategy. and service management is taken as a strategic asset. We will be discussing these service provider types in detail in the later learning units. Now, let us proceed to understand service design very briefly in the next few slides. In our last few slides, we learnt the basics of strategy. This slide explains the basics of service design. Let us start with the purpose and objectives of design. The service design volume provides guidance for the design and development of services and service management processes. It covers design principles and methods for converting strategic objectives into portfolios of services and service assets. The scope of service design is not limited to new services. It includes the changes and improvements necessary to increase or maintain value to customers over the lifecycle of services, the continuity of services, achievement of service levels, and conformance to standards and regulations. It guides organizations on how to develop design capabilities for service management. Purpose of SD is that service design is a stage within the overall service lifecycle as an important element within the business change process. The service design volume provides guidance for the design and development of services and service management processes. It covers design principles and methods for converting strategic objectives into portfolios of services and service assets. The primary objectives of SD is to design services to meet agreed business outcomes, identify and manage risks. Service design also has to design secure and resilient IT infrastructures, environments, applications, and data information resources and capability design measurement methods and metrics. And lastly, SD is responsible to produce and maintain plans, processes, policies, standards, architectures, frameworks, and documents to support the design of quality IT solutions. Like SS has 4 Ps in its process, service design also has 4 Ps. Let us discuss about them in the next slide. There are 4 Ps of design, and they are: 1. People. This refers to the people, skills, and competencies involved in the provision of IT services. 2. Products. This refers to the technology and management systems used in the delivery of IT services. 3. Processes. This refers to the processes, roles, and activities involved in the provision of IT services. And 4. Partners, which refers to the vendors, manufacturers, and suppliers used to assist and support IT service provision. This concept is explained in detail in the design publication. Now it's time to look at the key processes of SD. Key processes involved in service design are: service catalog management, service level management, capacity management, availability management, ITSCM, IT service continuity management, information security management, and supplier management. These processes are described in detail in the design publication, given here for the reference. Let us proceed to look at the key aspects of service design. All these principles are discussed in detail in the design course. Here we are just giving you a brief introduction of these pointers. The 5 individual aspects of service design are: new or changed service solutions, service management systems and tools, especially the service portfolio, technology architectures and management systems, processes, roles and capabilities, measurement methods and metrics. The key principles involved in service design are those which start with a set of business requirements and ends with the development of a service solution designed to meet documented business requirements and to provide a service design package, SDP, for handover into service transition. Now let us proceed to get introduced to service transition in the next slide. In our last few slides, we learned the basics of service design. This slide explains the basics of service transition. ITIL Service Transition provides guidance for development and improvement of capabilities for introducing new and changed services into supporting environments. It describes how to transition an organization from one state to another while controlling risk and supporting organizational knowledge for decision support. It ensures that the values identified in the service strategy and encoded in service design are effectively transitioned so that they can be realized in service operation. The purpose of service transition is to deliver services that are required by the business into operational use, and transition delivers by receiving the service design package from the service design stage and delivering into the operational stage every necessary element required for ongoing operation and support of that service. In the next slide, we'll discuss about the key principles of service transition. The key principles of service transition is to develop an understanding of all services, their utility and warranties. Service transition is responsible for establishing a formal policy and common framework for implementation of all required changes. It also helps in supporting knowledge transfer, decision support, and reuse of processes, systems, and other elements, and anticipating and managing course corrections, being proactive and determining likely course correction requirements. Service transition helps in ensuring the involvement of service transition and service transition requirements throughout the service lifecycle. In the next slide, we look at the key processes of ST. ITIL Service Transition describes best practice in transition planning and support, change management, service asset and configuration management, release and deployment management, service validation and testing, change evaluation, and knowledge management. It provides guidance on managing the complexity related to changes to services and service management processes, preventing undesired consequences while allowing for innovation. Key processes of transition are change management, service asset and configuration management, knowledge management, and the processes focused on service transition, but not exclusive to the stage, are transition planning and support, release and deployment management, service validation and testing, evaluation. Moving on, let us look at the roles and responsibilities of ST in the next slide. Key roles and responsibilities of service transition are the staff delivering service transition within an organization must be organized for effectiveness and efficiency, though it is not anticipated that a typical organization will consider a separate group of people for this role, and also there is a flow of experience and skills, meaning the same people may well be involved in multiple lifecycle stages. Service transition stage operational activities involve managing communications and commitment across IT service management. Transition also manages the organizational and stakeholder change, stakeholder management organization of service transition, and key roles. With this, we have covered details on service transition. From the next slide onwards, we will look at the details of service operations. Let us learn about service operations, starting with the purpose. ITIL Service Operation describes best practice for managing services in supportive environments. It includes guidance on achieving effectiveness and efficiency in the delivery and support of services to ensure value for the customer, the users, and the service provider. The purpose of service operations is to deliver agreed levels of service to users and customers, and to manage the applications, technology, and infrastructure that support delivery of the services. Let us move to the next slide and learn about key functions and processes of service operations. The key functions of SO involve the service desk function, technical management function, application management, IT operations management function. Other topics in ITIL service operation include event management, incident management, request fulfillment, problem management, and access management processes, as well as the service desk, technical management, IT operations management, and application management functions. The key processes involved in SO are event management process, incident management process, request fulfillment process, problem management process. So far, we discussed about the SO purpose, key functions, and processes. In the next slide, we will discuss about the SO value to business. Service operations is where the plans, designs, and optimizations from other ITIL lifecycle phases are executed and measured. Ideally, the service value is modeled in service strategy. The cost of service is designed, predicted, and validated in service design and service transition. The measures for optimization are identified in continual service improvement phase of the lifecycle, and from a customer viewpoint, service operation is where the actual value is seen. Now, let us move to learn about continual service improvement, CSI, in the next slide. Let us begin with the purpose of CSI. ITIL Continual Service Improvement provides guidance on creating and maintaining value for customers through better strategy, design, transition, and operation of services. It combines principles, practices, and methods from quality management, change management, and capability improvement. Purpose of CSI is concerned with maintaining value for customers. It is also involved in continual evaluation and improvement of the quality of services, and is responsible for the overall maturity of the ITSM service lifecycle and unprocessed. Like all other processes discussed so far, let's now discuss about the key activities and roles and responsibilities of CSI in the next slide. ITIL Continual Service Improvement describes best practice for achieving incremental and large-scale improvements in service quality, operational efficiency, and business continuity, and for ensuring that the service portfolio continues to be aligned to business needs. Guidance is provided for linking improvement efforts and outcomes with service strategy, design, transition, and operation. A closed-loop feedback system based on the Plan, Do, Check, Act PDCA cycle is established. Feedback from any stage of the service lifecycle can be used to identify improvement opportunities for any other stage of the lifecycle. Key processes and activities. 3 key processes for continual service improvement is mostly measured with the 7-step improvement process. The steps required to collect meaningful data, analyze this data to identify trends and issues, present the information to management for their prioritization and agreement, and implement improvements. Other key processes are service measurement and service reporting. Key roles and responsibilities. CSI Manager is responsible for the overall CSI activities within an organization. Also, majority of the detailed improvement related work is carried out within each of the lifecycle stages, processes and activities. The next slide depicts a diagram on the key links, inputs, outputs of the service lifecycle stages. In our last few slides, we learnt about the basics of service operations. This slide explains the key links, inputs and outputs of the service lifecycle stages. This is a pictorial representation of the key links, inputs and outputs of the service lifecycle stages. Stages of the lifecycle work together as an integrated system to support the ultimate objective of service management for business value realization. Every stage is interdependent as shown in the figure. With this, we have covered the basics of ITIL Foundation and Service Strategy, as well as the other life cycles. Now, let us move to Learning Unit 1, where we will learn about Service Strategy in detail. With this, we've come to the end of the introductory lesson. The next section is the quiz section. Attempt all questions before moving on to the next Learning Unit 1 on Introduction to Service Strategy.